what the hell happened? Part 22. In the last part, went over basically what happened after Jezebel left, the last 2 weeks, and how this group of people basically tried to get me to conform to their way of doing things despite them violating their own belief system. And I sent them a heated message calling them out on it. Okay, it really wasn't that heated. I don't get that heated, at least not typically. But basically, I was frustrated. So I just told them all these things that they were doing wrong in violation of their own teachings, their own belief system, and I don't believe the same thing they do, any of them. However, I do know what they believe, and I called them out on their own stuff. And then dead silence for like probably a week. Didn't respond at all. And eventually, I called up Delilah, my wife, and I'm like, hey, they're just not getting back to me. And she absolutely scolded me. What I said sent them was extremely hurtful, and they're just trying to help, and I attacked them. I called them out on their hypocrisy. They didn't like it. However, I knew I was also frustrated when I did it, so I could kind of see how they viewed it this way, and I ended up just trying to go back with them and sent them a message just kind of apologizing for the hostile tone, something like that. Anyway, in the meantime, I've just been bombarded by all these people that I feel like are against me because I believe this whole group orchestrated it to look like I was completely alone. And everyone I have ever known is upset with me, against me, want me to go through with whatever it is these people want me to go through. But I get a call out of the blue from a friend of mine. PhD, he's got a master's in something else, and he's just a highly educated person, and it amuses me. He's a cool guy, really talkative. I don't know why I don't know. Yeah. We couldn't be more opposite in many ways. He has no idea what has occurred at all. These people did not get a hold of him and let him know any of this. They don't really know that I'm good friends with him. Yet Ananias and Sapphira know of him. In some ways, he's somewhat of a public figure, and they absolutely idolize this guy. That's doesn't matter. It's just coincidence. But anyway, he calls me up, and he loves to talk. We were talking about all kinds of stuff, and he brings up Job's story, which I had dismissed in my mind. I felt like I was kind of Job with my friends telling me to do exactly what Job's friends told him to do. And I just kind of feel like it, and then I also feel like I'm just wanting that to be the case. So that's why I'm seeing a parallel. Out of the blue, he just starts talking about Job. I haven't told him anything yet about what has happened. He just starts talking about Job and all this stuff, and he is an absolute historian. He loves history, he loves biblical history. He randomly gets into, I don't know, he starts talking about like brainwashing and all this other stuff. And we talked about a lot of stuff. This is just what stuck with me. It just seems kind of random, out of the blue. We're just kind of talking. I believe I did briefly mention that Jezebel had left, things on the homestead have changed, but I just very casually just kind of threw it out there. And it was cool. We had a conversation, and later on, I look up brainwashing, and I start taking this whole Job thing seriously, because this all seems like a coincidence. I found the article I looked up on brainwashing. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. But there's 10 points in it. First, assault on identity, guilt, self-betrayal, breaking point, leniency, compulsion to confess, channeling of guilt, releasing of guilt, progress and harmony, final confession, and rebirth. And as I read through the actual article of how they do this, what this group of people was doing to me was the same stinking thing. And I still didn't, I'm still like, this is just wishful thinking. They this can't be. It's amazing the mental pressure that's put on you when an entire group of people all come after you. So the phone call's over. I've got all this information. still doubting myself. More time goes by. I'm sure I talked back and forth with a group of people a little bit, but I was starting to really doubt them. And yet at the same time, I just kept telling myself everything I'm learning about brainwashing, um, yeah, about Job, like it's just wishful thinking. And then I just get to a point where it's just mentally way too much, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna call Ananias and Sapphira up and just totally be willing to do whatever it is they want me to do, whatever it is. Like I'm just done. I will do whatever, whatever. I'm just done. Um, I'm gonna go along with it. I'm a bad person. I need to be fixed. Obviously, I'm so bad I can't even see it, um, and obviously I can't even call out to the Creator and Him tell me because apparently I'm just that bad. And then as the time comes for me to make that phone call and do that, I'm just like, I'm going to call him in the evening. And I'm just, all I want to do is pick up the phone and call my friend again with the PhD. And I'm like, no, I can't, because if I call him up and I tell him the whole story, then of course it's going to feed my delusion. I mean, he's going to take my side because he only knows that side. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. Well, I was just hoping he would call me. It's like, if he calls me, I'm going to tell him everything. If not, I'm just going to call these people at 8 o'clock or whatever. Wouldn't you know it, about an hour or two beforehand, he calls me up out of the blue just to chat again. And I absolutely lay this whole thing on him. Not in nearly as much detail, but enough. And yeah, I've never heard this man say a bad word or be anything hostile. But when I told him all this, he told me, that's bullshit, which just doesn't seem to be a term in his normal vocabulary. um, and then he went on to say they were acting exactly like Job's friends. Absolutely what they're doing is brainwashing. It's cult-like. And that's what I needed to hear. Bear in mind at this point, I still have absolutely no idea what to do. Like, I'm still in a situation, regardless of whether I'm going with these people or not. And then each one of them, Delilah, my wife, calls, Ananias and Sapphira. I don't believe Tom reached out to me on this, and Abel, my brother, all reached out, same day, couple hours apart, saying, hey, there's this guy that's a minister of this Mennonite church, and there's all kinds of connections. And he's been through bad stuff in his life, and he's not done everything right, and he's willing to counsel you and take you in. And this set off alarm bells in my head like crazy, because I know that he is a part of a Mennonite secretive group, and I know it crosses the border of Mennonite denominations. There's all kinds of different sorts of Mennonites, but he is on this board of this group that basically help take care of these people that need help. I believe it's pretty much only guys, but basically they'll take you and put you somewhere. Let me rephrase that. They will tell you this is what you should do, and you will go and be put somewhere. At the same time, there was this big article that broke. I'll see if I can find it. It was a news article about this Mennonite farm that had people basically against their will working on the farm for no pay and all this stuff. And I was dead certain that's exactly the type of place I was destined for. Mennonites will all tell you, oh, that's this super conservative group or that super conservative weird Mennonite group, but we're not like that. Yeah, no. You get higher up in all the Mennonite circles and groups, there's connections. The Mennonites are way more connected than they want you to believe through all these denominations. But yeah, I was basically supposed to go off to some camp. And I'm pretty sure if that had happened, that would have been the last you would have seen of me. Probably would have been physically fine, but I would have been going through whatever their thing was. And I think this was all the plan all along. It was crazy, because I actually came really close to going along with what they said, and I'd like to think I'm not the type of person that would fall for such crap, but there I was, almost falling for it. Next part.